Hey, welcome back to the Cellarcast. We are hitting episode 20. Wow, it's kind of crazy to think that I've been doing this for 4 months. Yeah, the channel's been doing kind of like weirdly well. One kind of funny, odd thing is that sometimes a video will just like randomly hit the algorithm really hard, like months after uploading. Let me fix my microphone for 1 second. There we go. Like months after uploading. So all of a sudden, the Sega video, the Sega and the Yakuza video, it was sitting at 200 subs until like a few days ago, till like Monday. And then suddenly, in the span of about a week, it shot up to it's at like over 1,000 views. And it's just one of those funny things, like Sega's not in the news, Yakuza's not really in the news. Like Lost Judgment came out like last month or something, but yeah, just like, alright, I guess for some reason people are just clicking on that video a lot. But it's cool. It's cool. I'm very sleep deprived. This is gonna be a sleepy podcast Taigen episode. Because so what happened was, after I did the 4-video bonanza for Halloween, the week of Halloween, I was like, I'm gonna take a break, just to prevent myself from burning out. Thought it would be healthy. Like I can take like a week off, and it's probably be fine. And then I immediately absolutely demolished my sleep patterns, and I'm trying to fix them. I went over to Kat's house the other day, and I literally just fell asleep on her couch. I was like, I'm kind of tired. I'm gonna stretch for a second, if you don't mind. She was like, we should watch a movie. So she put on fucking Ice Age 2. Remember how I said she's a little like garbage raccoon? Yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna close my eyes for a second. And then when I woke up, it was off. I was like, what happened? How long? She's like, oh, it's over. I'm like, what? Did I sleep? How long was I asleep? It felt like I closed my eyes for like 5 minutes. That's what they call a micro sleep. Every time I leave her house, she always lets me keep like a bottled water. So I have, how many bottled waters do I have? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there's like one on the ground. Yeah, 8. I think I like threw some of them in the recycling, so I got rid of them. So that's gonna be my drinky today. No brain juice. No brain juice, no milk. Just straight up the classic. Blah blah blah. I don't know. I kind of wanted to talk. There wasn't a ton of crazy news. Oh, I should start off. You know what I'm gonna start off with? I'm gonna start off with play the song. Play the song. Oh, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it in post. Yep. There. Ooh. Yep. There's the song. It's time for the Blizzard block. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I don't know how long the song is gonna play. It's like 40 seconds. So if you remember last time, I was like, I should have a little intro for the Blizzard block, because it occurs so often on this podcast. And then I made a little nonsense little song on the spot, and then all of a sudden, on like Tuesday, I get an email from a guy, off the top of my head, ghostiaczku. It was like ZKU. It's gonna be linked in his SoundCloud will be linked in the description. I think that specific track is like privated, but you know, whatever. You can check him out. And he just messaged me and he was like, "Hey, I really liked the podcast. Here's the thing for the little thing that you made, the little song you sang." I was like, "Wow, that's super cool." So I asked him if I could use it, and he was like, "Yeah, it's cool." So thank you very much, ghostiaczku. That was super dope, and it's technically the first piece of fan art for this channel. Usually fan art is like drawings, but hey, music is art. Yeah, crazy. I was like, wow, he actually like turned just this nonsensical, like no melody, no real rhythm thing that I made up on the spot into like something I thought was pretty cool. So props to him. Anyway, we got to go to the Blizzard block. So there was two pieces of Blizzard news. Now here's the thing. I was thinking about this, and I try to be very conscious of how much negativity I put out. Let me get into the first one. So the first one was that Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 have both been delayed. Where's the freaking tweet? I didn't get my tabs in order. Yep. So Stephen Totilo from Axios announced one of these on Twitter, or he relayed the news that so blah blah blah. It's a thing from Blizzard. They say, as we've worked with new leadership in Blizzard and within the franchises themselves particularly, it has become apparent that some of the Blizzard content planned for next year will benefit from more development time to reach its full potential. While we are still planning to deliver a substantial amount of content from Blizzard next year, we are now planning a later launch for Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 than originally envisaged. Envisaged? You could have just said envisioned. Envisaged? I guess that's technically correct. It's just weird. Why do you gotta say visage? What's the definition of a visage? A visage, isn't it just a... No, don't give me some horror game. Give me the meaning. A person's face with reference to the form or proportions of the features. Person's facial expression. The surface of an object presented to view. From videre to see. That doesn't make any sense. And then we originally envisaged? It doesn't make any sense. What? Visage isn't even a verb. It's a noun. What? You can't say that. Who is writing these? Who is writing these? Can you tell I'm an English guy? Could you tell I was an English guy in school? That really peeves me off, guys. Envisaged. What? That didn't even get caught by your spell check? It's not a huh. Anyway, should have been envisioned. Oh, I just closed the tab. Yo, I was looking at pictures of dogs wearing glasses. Dude, there's something about dogs wearing glasses that it makes them look like very, very like fatherly for some reason. Like I just look at a little dog wearing glasses. I'm like, that looks like a dad dog. That looks like a dad dogger. You know? They just look very like mature. I think it's because of their big eyes. I don't know what it is. They look great. Yo, there's a little. You ever seen look up dogs with goggles? I like it when they have the little reading glasses, but when they have the goggles, dude, freaking oh. Dude, there's a little golden retriever wearing swimming goggles. Dude, he looks so ready. Dude, I can't get over this. What the fuck? Oh, right. So Diablo 4, Overwatch 2 have been delayed. And I was thinking about this. I was thinking about like how I was like, ooh, Blizzard block news. And I was thinking about like how much like negativity I put out through my what I produce, right? And the thing is that I you see this and you can, it's really easy to get pulled into like a whirlpool of like, yeah, the game got delayed, haha, like just rubbing your hands in satisfaction that they're going to be worse off because you just personally dislike Blizzard. It's very easy to get caught up in that, and even like the slightest little news, it gets you just foaming at the mouth to be like, look at them. I feel like that's really common on YouTube or just anywhere online, because people are just, I don't know, they hunt for negativity. And I was really thinking about that, and I'm like, does it really make me happy? Because like I have no attachment to Diablo, I have no attachment really to Overwatch. I never even really looked at Overwatch porn, and that's 90% of its impact on culture. And I think Overwatch porn had more impact on society than Soldier 76 coming out as gay did. Anyway. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't want to be that guy who just grabs every single misfortune that happens to this group of people and just spits it out there so I can feed this kind of like this like kind of ugly sort of hate machine that runs on the internet. I don't really want to be that guy. And I you know, I want to talk. I think it was funny to mention because specifically like Diablo 4 getting pushed back. Okay, that's, you know, whatever. Overwatch 2 is funny. That game getting delayed, that's funny, because it's been in development. Overwatch 2 is so weird to me because like when I first heard about it, I couldn't understand what it was. I was like, so it's like is it a separate game? And then I had a friend. I didn't want to. There's my burp for the podcast. My friend was explaining it to me. He's like, well, yeah, but you can also like, if you own the first game, you can play with people who own Overwatch 2. And I'm like, so what is Overwatch 2? Is it like an expansion, or is it like what makes it the 2? And then it's like, oh, because it has co-op elements. I'm like, what? I didn't even know that Overwatch had a single player component in the first place, or like a co-op mode. I thought it was literally just multiplayer PvP. I had no idea about any of that, and I was you look at like what they've shown off, you're like, that's cool, but why is it taking this long? Like, you just think that like unless even if it's like a significant upgrade to the engine or something like that, how much time, like how extensive is this co-op like Left 4 Dead style game? Like how how extensive is it? Is it like huge? Is it like a whole ass like 10-hour game or something like that, or what's the skinny on this thing? I'm almost really curious actually to see what it's like when it finally comes out. Maybe what if this becomes like the Duke Nukem Forever of this generation? That would be hilarious. Like, does it even exist? You're just looking over at like the new hires at Blizzard, and you're just scanning down the list, and it's like, George Broussard. What the like after Jeff Kaplan leaves, it's like we got someone else to replace him. What, George Broussard? Oh God! Oh no! It'll be done when it's done. Yeah, so it's like, what? Does this game even exist? Is it a game? What is it? I feel like after Jeff Kaplan left Blizzard, I feel like the game was probably on track to come out when it was supposed to, and then when he left, it just caused this gigantic, knowing what we know now about the internal management situation at Blizzard, I can't help but wonder if it just caused this gigantic, like, leadership vacuum whirlpool vortex that, like a hurricane was maybe more better to describe it, of just complete disorganization, and there's no one at the helm. No one knows what the hell's going on, and Jeff was just keeping it together because of the way that Blizzard leadership happens to be set up. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was the one who was keeping things on track. I don't even know who's like directing it now or whatever. So the reason I feel like it was noteworthy because it also happened at the same time that Jen Oneal announces that she is stepping down at the end of the year. Holy crap. So if you don't remember, after Jab, good old Jab, stepped down, he was replaced by two co-leaders. Two new why the fuck is why is Goku trending on Twitter right now? Two co-leaders. What the hell's going on? Is there really a Dragon Ball character named Granola? Jesus Christ. Oh, I guess there's a new chapter or whatever. Anyway, right. There were two co-leaders, which is already kind of weird. One was named a guy named Mike Ibarra or Ibarra. I'm not entirely sure. The other one was a lady by the name of Jen Oneal, and I was like, whoa, we got a woman in power, which, you know, not to discredit her or anything, but, you know, it's not necessarily going to be any better just because there's I've talked about this before, blah, 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 blah. And, already, she has announced, so she's not stepping down immediately. In an email to staff, this is reported by Jason Schreier, Oneal says she's leaving, quote, to dive deeper into the admirable causes of women in games International, a nonprofit devoted to equality and diversity in gaming, and that Activision Blizzard is giving a $1 million grant to the organization. The news means that in the wake of a widespread reckoning over how its culture mistreated women, Blizzard has gone from having male and female co-leaders to again having a single male boss. And apparently this was not discovered until a shareholder meeting. And there was a really interesting, so there was a thread about this on Reddit, naturally, and I found, so someone linked, or, well, it's hard, they quoted it and supplied a link. The problem is that, let me just read. So Amy Dunham, the technical director at Blizzard, announced that she was leaving earlier today, too. This is on the day that the announcement came out. And she is commenting on Jen leaving, and oh boy. So they linked this tweet, and it looks like this lady, Amy Dunham, I click on it, and it says it limits who can view her tweets. I don't know. Blizzard devs are very sensitive. And so they quoted this. And I found this very interesting. So she says, look at who a company puts in a decision-making capacity over its core business. For a brief period in 2020, there were 3 women in leadership of game dev teams at Blizzard. Greater than or equal to director roles. Okay. They were Julia, Jen, and me. The three of us were the first women to ever serve in our specific roles, and we were also the most senior women in the company for our respective disciplines. All left this year. Before you make commitments to recruit more women, usually at entry level where people have less choice to turn down opportunities, figure out and fix why all of your senior women choose to leave. I think that's a very interesting take. There's there's definitely things that she is not saying for the sake of, I guess, not being, I guess keeping some tact, I suppose. She might have, I don't know if she said anything previously about the harassment or anything that she herself experienced, but yeah, the quote, "the fish rots from the head," definitely comes to mind here. So again, to reiterate it yet again, putting more women in positions of power does not necessarily decrease harassment or any of that, because, I mean, well, the joke that all the incredibly jaded WoW players are saying is, oh boy, they're going to hire more women to harass. And, it's unpleasant, but there's a kernel of truth to it if we kind of look at what Ms. Dunham is saying here. Before you make commitments to recruit more women, figure out and fix why all of your senior women choose to leave. So she's suggesting that there is something where if you were in like a senior position and you have, especially in Blizzard where it was a lot of staff members and former staff were saying seniority was like a big deal, and if you were there for a while, then you had a special status and you were part of the clique, the inner circle, I think one of them described it as. And so you look at these three women who all are, according to this, fairly senior, the most senior women in the company at the time for their in their respective areas. If you kind of read between the lines here, and if you intuit that things were bad for them, it's like, gee, first of all, it would be like, okay, who is perpetrating that? Because you look at the other victims of harassment and just unequal treatment, a lot of times it was people in, more like either newer hires or, who have less power, who are, they don't want to join and then immediately quit or anything. Or, maybe people who are in like middle positions, medium positions, not higher than entry level, of course, but not like a top dog, right? Not really, just like a standard, an average employee, what you might say. Usually it was like a couple unchecked higher-ups who were harassing and exploiting the situations of those people. And that makes sense, which is an unfortunate thing to say, but it makes sense, right? Like, it's understandable, and it's like, okay, yeah, this was a problem of senior management allowing this kind of culture and these types of people to fester in the company. What is like very right is when you see senior positions, women in senior positions who, I don't know if they had harassment, but like if they did, that is very, like, who is that from? Was it from those same men who were doing stuff to other women? Because that's pretty, I don't know, I'm not saying I don't believe it. I'm just saying that it would be like a different kind of scenario, right? As opposed to picking on someone who where you have a higher position in the power dynamic, a much higher position, compared to like someone who is kind of on your level. That's very, I don't know, it's very bold. I'd be very curious as to where what exactly happened. I don't know if maybe she'll talk about it. Maybe she has, and I just haven't remembered that it was her who said a certain thing, but yeah, man, things are fucking on fire over there. Jeez, I hope that all the decent people stay. Like, what am I even supposed to say? I hope that the decent people stay, and that people who make good decisions and are good people end up in, you know, positions of authority, and they're able to lead people responsibly and just make good games. And like, God, the thing that I've heard, I heard a pretty interesting comeback, because there were some WoW players who were upset over, because WoW saw basically a pause in development and then a delay on an update, and they've already been waiting like 8 freaking months. They were already waiting like 8 months for a single content patch to an already pretty barren expansion, and they were just expressing their annoyance because of this whole deal. And the comeback to them was, you shouldn't be, this is more important, I can't believe you're upset about a game, blah blah blah. And then the response to that was, dude, it shouldn't be the player, it shouldn't be the customer's fault, not fault, but it shouldn't be on the customer to worry. You're not paying $60 plus a subscription fee to worry about worry about a bunch of creepy grown men groping women and getting drunk at the office. You're not spending the money to support that. Of course they're disgusted with it, but it's like, now those fuckers over there are not only inconvenienced done horrible things to these people, they have also inconvenienced and just made a shitty experience out of our game. That I shouldn't have to fucking worry about that. I think that's somewhat reasonable. How did I get on this topic? Right. Oh yeah. The consumer should not have to worry about the sexual harassment going on at the company that they're purchasing a product from. And that's not to say that they should turn a blind eye. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it just shouldn't be happening in the first place. It shouldn't be happening in the first place because, number one, I don't want that to be happening to people. Number two, it's literally bad for everyone. It just impacts my experience as well. You're affecting more people, even if it's in a ultimately kind of meaningless way, like, oh, I have to wait longer for my video game to get a patch. You're still like, you know, people work hours to they put in hours to earn cash to pay for your game, and then why am I getting a shitty product? Oh, it's because we just can't stop groping people. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? That shouldn't be my problem. What the hell? It shouldn't be anyone's problem. Let's see. I wanted to talk a little bit about... I just saw this before I started. A trailer for a game called Undarkness, or as the kana reads, Undarkness. I love it when Japanese games have English titles and they just write it in katakana. I just find it amusing. That's the funny thing about like Japanese, is that you can say something in like a really racist accent, but that's just how the language is pronounced. Like when I say guns Undarkness, you're like, oh, that's a character. That's literally how it's pronounced. Like if you look at the kana, that's literally how it's pronounced. Symbol by symbol, that's how you're supposed to say it. It just so happens that like it sounds like you're putting on like some kind of like caricature, but you're not. It is what it sounds like. Anyway, Guns Undarkness, which is a, first of all, what the hell is that title? Second of all, the reason this was interesting at all to me is that this is actually like a 1 or 2 man project by Shoji Meguro, who is the composer for the Persona series. What else does he do SMT in general? Shoji Meguro. I'm obviously like mostly familiar with him from yeah, he does SMT too. I'm obviously mostly familiar with him from Persona, but there's a picture on the Megami Tensei wiki for Shoji Meguro, and it's him just holding a copy of Persona 1 on PSP, and it just says Shoji Meguro promoting Persona, and he's just standing there holding it up. That's really funny. Something's really funny to me about that. He's done a ton of looks like he goes back to the Megami Ibunroku Persona. Is that yeah, it's Revelations. Yes, that's like the first one. Yeah, all the way back to 1996. Oh, damn, I didn't even realize he did that many Digital Devil Saga, SMT. He did the soundtrack for Nocturne. Yeah, so he's making his own game. It's called Guns Undarkness, and it looks like some kind of a weird, like a third-person shooter strategy RPG. I couldn't really tell. The trailer's like not good. So first of all, this is not a good trailer. It's a stealth RPG. That's what he's calling it. The trailer's like not that good. It's cut in a really weird way where there's like silence and then a song starts playing and then the song like cuts off, and the actual shots of gameplay, which first of all, mostly gameplay, pretty much all gameplay, which was cool. I appreciate that. But very choppy and weird, and like didn't get a super great idea of what it was, but it also like doesn't look good. It looks like it was made in Unity. It might be good. Oh, wait, hang on. The lyrics of the song. So, the game was designed, composed, and developed by Shoji Meguro, a legendary game designer who worked as a composer and director for the Persona series. Was he a director? Really? And the Shin Megami Tensei series. The lyrics of the song are written by Lotus Juice, also known from the Persona series, and Ilya Kuvshinov, an up-and-coming Russian illustrator known for his work on Ghost in the Shell SAC 2045, will create characters that give color to the game world. So, yeah, there's a... okay, I don't know. There's a quote or something at the beginning. I can read Watashi no something. Wow. Yeah, whatever. My Japanese isn't good enough to read quite yet. Be apt at reading. Yeah, it looks like it's got that Unity game look to it. In terms of like the lighting and the textures and stuff. Reminds me of oh geez, what am I thinking of? Maybe more of like a, I'm trying to see, there's like some other shots in this trailer, because it's a lot of like yeah, so I don't know. So there's shots of what looks like a very almost like XCOM, like the new XCOM games, with hiding behind cover and then giving a command to like poke out, do a shot and stuff like that, use different skills, and what looks like a grid-based system, so that kind of like strategy, like a strategy RPG. But there's also shots of, looks like maybe like walking through an overworld. So I'm not entirely sure exactly how the combat works. Some kind of real time? I really can't tell. It's fairly like choppy. I don't know. I'm interested because the song was neat. Shoji Meguro is an amazing composer. So at the very least, we're gonna get a pretty sick soundtrack out of this. Is basically guaranteed. But he's still at Atlas is the thing. So he's like developing this basically in his spare time. Well, he's not at Atlas. He technically left. When did he leave? Shoji Meguro leaves Atlas. When did that happen? Oh, holy shit. In October. Really? Wow. I didn't even realize that. Like weeks, like 2 weeks ago. What the hell? I totally missed that. So there's going to be a Persona game without him? Unless they like license him again or work with him. That would be crazy. Wow. Huh. Whoa. I'm just thinking about that. He's such a huge part of that that series identity. That would really be something else. Yeah, so neat, I guess. Check it out. It doesn't look amazing visually, but gameplay-wise it might be kind of cool, and the music will probably be good. What did I want to talk about? I wanted to go over this article. I've mentioned Marvel's Avengers, the Crystal Dynamics Square Enix joint venture, a few times, and how thinking about it I think it's a game that I think about it. It's kind of like Anthem, where it's these games that you think about and like your organs just kind of harden up, just like that feeling. You're just like, fuck. I can feel my arteries hardening. I'm aging by the second as I think about it. It's like a freaking... What's the thing where they... What's the thing where like someone gets like the life sucked out of them when they like age? Totally thinking of something like that. I'm totally imagining like a movie or something where that happens. Does Shang Tsung do that in Mortal Kombat? I don't remember. Anyway, so here's a whopper of a title from VGC, courtesy of Tom Ivan. Square Enix claims Crystal Dynamics was the wrong fit for, quote, disappointing Marvel's Avengers. That's a title and a half. So the head of Square Enix has claimed that Crystal Dynamics was a bad fit for Marvel's Avengers given its lack of experience with the games as a service model. Holy crap. I feel like Marvel's Avengers failed not because it was a games as a service title, but a GaaS Guzzler, if you will. But because I think no. I think it failed because it was a GaaS Guzzler, not because of mishandling of that. I think just no one was excited about the idea of a Marvel game. Like, I remember looking at the trailer for that and I was like, oh, this is like a third-person action game. This is like a third-person action game with like a mission structure, and there's it's like level-based, and there's like a bunch of different characters, like Ultimate Alliance, kind of like that, but more of like a third-person action-y thing. Not quite like Ultimate. You know what I'm talking about. That same kind of idea. You got a bunch of Marvel characters to play as, and in this action-packed, level mission-based like adventure game, if you will, adventure action game. And then I find out, no, it's actually like a Destiny. And I was like, what? No, it's not. This is like a third-person thing. No, it's like Destiny. It's like, that doesn't make any... What? Why would you do it like that? And I just feel like people don't... The whole thing with that kind of a game is you want to have... Like, one of the appeals is you being able to, like, create a character. And, like, that's what, Destiny is based... It's like an MMO. It's... What's some other good GaaS games? It's either things that are, like, competitive games... like a Fortnite, or a League, or a Apex. It's a competitive game, or if it's something like Destiny, or any other kind of MMO, there's a big appeal to creating a character and developing like your own character. An Avengers game kind of hits like the worst of that, the worst outcome of that. What am I trying to say? It's like the least compatible for that, because these are like iconic characters with like kind of set looks and characters, and the idea of I'm gonna go online and do a raid as like Captain America. I don't know. I feel like it's not as compelling compared to if it was like it was just like a completely single player game with like co-op elements. And then also there might be some truth to the fact that Crystal D was not. Ah, jeez. Add 2 more. There should be a bingo card for this show. One of the spots is going to be... Yeah, we could have a bingo card. We could do like the Blizzard block. Tygan burps during it. Tygan forgets what number episode it is at the start. You could do... what? Leave in the comments some other good bingo card spots, and I might actually make one. If I have some good ideas, if you guys got some good ideas. Yeah, from what it looked like, it just looked like a very average, from the sounds of it, from watching some reviews and how it was described to me, very painfully average gameplay with some neat, I don't know, some neat characters. I mean, it's like, it's Marvel characters. It's cool. But why did it have to be this kind of a game? I feel like if it was just more focused, it felt like something that was like supposed to be one thing, and then it got derailed at some point to be this GaaS title. So, quote, Marvel's Avengers was an ambitious title for us in that we took on the GaaS model. Matsuda said. Matsuda's Yosuke Matsuda, president of Square Enix. We overcame a variety... I remember his name now. I was like, Matsuda's... I recognize the name, but I can't remember the rest of it. We overcame a variety of unexpected difficulties in the final phase of the game's development, including needing to transition to work from home due to the pandemic. All right. We were able to surmount these challenges and release the game, but it has unfortunately not proven as successful as we would have liked. Yeah, having the whole, like, we've got a 10-year... Did they do the 10-year plan BS at the start? I feel like they did. I might be making that out. If I just look up, like... It's like Marvel's Avengers game 10-year plan. Oh yeah, here is this. Marvel's Avengers story will roll out over the course of multiple years. What a bunch of bullshit. That's the worst. It's like nobody wants to freaking buy that. No one wants to buy... Like, what is this, an NFT? Oh, it's gonna have more value later on, so I better get in now. No. No one cares. It would be more like, this is gonna have value later on. It's like, this is like a speculator. You're marketing to speculators. This game's gonna have more value later on. You should buy it now. Like this profile picture of a lion. It's smoking weed. Isn't that really cool? Yeah, the whole 10-year plan garbage is the most blatantly, like, there is no faster way to kill my hype for a game than this is going to take 10 years to reach its full potential. I'm sorry. I'm a responsible adult. I use a condom. I don't just randomly go flying into 10-year commitments. While the new challenge that we tackled with this title produced a disappointing outcome, we are certain that the GaaS approach will grow in importance as gaming becomes more service-oriented. How we go about creating new experiences by incorporating this trend into our game design is a key question that we will need to answer going forward. So why, in 2019 interview, Matsuda explained why he thought Crystal Dynamics was well suited to Marvel's Avengers. Crystal has always been a company that's made games in the action-adventure space. In that sense, I think it would be a good fit in terms of making a game with Marvel using the Avengers, which would naturally be an action-based game. What a quote. Yeah, I guess not. It's one of those cases where it's like, I wonder how... I wonder how much of the blunders of the Marvel's Avengers was Crystal Dynamics and how much of it was Square Enix, because I feel like that game just kind of got screwed over by business model and overall like structure as a game, if that makes... I mean, I just went on a whole spiel about it, but it feels like something that would come from Square Enix. Like they were like, it has to be like this. Wait. The head of Xbox Game Studios is named Matt Booty? That means butt. Fucking ass man. Yeah, the first comment under this article is, "Hey, Crystal Dynamics, how's the underside of that bus you were just thrown under?" And I cannot think of a better comment to sum up this whole situation. Yeah. This should go in the history books of gaming as an excellent deflection. No, that was their... I think that was their fault. Yeah, so it's Crystal Dynamics' fault that you insisted on putting thousands of dollars in paid DLC costumes in a game? Oh, was it? It probably was thousands of dollars. That is a business decision made by the publishers, which is true. So I've heard about this. There are literally people who are usually they're not really part of the development team. They're usually hired by the publisher, and they are the like monetization people. So the publisher brings in someone to look at the game and go, where can we stuff as many monetization opportunities as possible into this game? That's how you end up with with paying $60 for a game and then having to pay more in shitty little microtransactions. That sucks. Yeah, Square, I don't know, they're a company. What did you expect? Which sucks. It sucks that it has to say that about such a legendary developer that has made some of my favorite games of all time. Final Fantasy VI? Come on. It's really the individuals who are able to break through the mold at Square. Like Yoko Taro, like Yoshida, you know. These guys who are really pulling the weight for them. Yeah, I just thought that was funny. They really did throw them under the bus with that one. What a laugh. You could have just said, like, gamers didn't respond to the business model. Because, well, no, that's not true. Because if you would have to admit that there was some kind of a fault in the way that you handled the business model. And you can't say that because look at all this money. Look at all this money. It really does remind me of NFTs, like, where you just see something and you completely misread, like, what makes something successful. Like, the whole deal with NFTs is, like, we'll introduce artificial scarcity so that it's valuable because it's rare. It's like, no, rare things don't make it. Like, I could, like, blow my nose right now and it's gonna be the only rag with my DNA on it. Doesn't make it rare because nobody cares. They negative care. They actively don't want it, actually, and just because it's the only one doesn't suddenly make it valuable. This is the same mentality that made the comics industry crash in freaking 2000, because a Superman comic sold for really high value because it was the first one and it was very well preserved and people care about Superman. And then that was completely misread by editors and publishers and stuff, and they were like, oh, it was because it was rare and it's the first issue. So what we're going to do is we're going to flood the shelves with just tons of, just an ocean of garbage of just, this guy's name is Bloodshot. He's a assassin with a bunch of guns and belts and pouches on him, and he has a base, and then a guy breaks into his base and he has to shoot the guys, and then he goes, who's behind this? And that's the first issue, and it's gonna have a holographic foil cover, and it's gonna say landmark first issue or something like that. If you go back and you look at the 90s, what's really interesting is you start seeing this trend. Where'd my magnets go? Some of the magnets fell. There it is. You start seeing this trend that really wasn't there before, which was like the first issue. Whoa, guys. And it's like, that really wasn't much of a thing. Like, you'd see it in older comics and stuff, but especially if it was like characters who were previous, like Iron Man and Captain America used to share like a single 30-page book. Was it Amazing Stories, I think? And they would get like 15 pages each, and then they eventually got their own comics, and it was like, finally, the first issue of Iron Man's standalone book. And it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But like, there was this whole speculator boom, and it was fueled entirely by editors who were like, yeah, this is going to be valuable. We're going to put these things to make it valuable, and just because it's the first one, people are going to buy into it. We're going to get so many sales on these first issues because people are going to want to invest, because what if this is worth like $1 million in like 20 years? And it's like, no, it's not going to be worth $1 million in 20 years because nobody cares about Bloodshot, Kill Fucker, or Hitman, or whoever you, I don't know, you know, Like, people, the Superman comic sold for a lot because someone was willing to buy a Superman comic for a lot of money. And the reason they were willing to buy it is because they were probably a collector and they care about Superman. It's because Superman's an international super icon. Ultra giga mega iconic character. Like a symbol. Known everywhere. You go to Africa and there's little kids with Superman backpacks. And it's like, this character is one of the biggest characters, fictional characters of all time. Yes, of people care. That's why it's sold for $1 gajillion. No one cares about your character. Just throwing out a game and saying, well, it's checks and like checking all the boxes of, well, it's gonna offer this and it's gonna have that and it's got this brand name and we're gonna have a 10-year plan. There's gonna be so much content in 10 years. Like, you're asking people to basically invest in something up front that is not really complete. And that's not how anything works. When you look at the games that have actually lasted 10 years, which are very few and far between, it's like it launched, it was successful at launch because it was good at launch, it was compelling at launch, it had reasons that got people excited in the first, few months, years of its existence, and then it went on to just continue because people loved the game. You see this with CSGO, you see this with League of Legends, you see this with tons of games, lots of MMOs people get invested in, and not all these games, mind you, only a select few. Like, there's like a very interesting human element to, pardon me. I was going to say, the whole NFT thing is exactly like the speculator boom in comics, which, like, NFTs have, like, no inherent value, and it's stupid to think that anyone is going to care that you have this, it's a unique lion. It's like, but no one cares. You can't make them care. What am I going to say? There's a very unique human element of what people get really jazzed for. And you can just kind of feel it. And that's what makes tiny little games like Minecraft, which was developed by a single dude, and it was just like a little pet project, into literally the highest selling game of all time. That is what... Minecraft did not have a 10-year plan. None of these games had 10-year plans. You are like following steps to success that don't exist. You just need to make a product that is good on its own, and then if it's successful, and it's really successful, and you've really got something on your hands, then you develop it and you continue it. This is like, we're going to throw so much money into this that it has to be, because we literally can't control our budgets, that this has to be the biggest success of all time. It has to make all the money, so we have to put in every microtransaction, we have to put in hundreds of old DLC costumes, we have to put in we have to get like exclusive deals to get Spider-Man in only the PS4 version, which was dumb, so that we can guarantee that we get not only our money, but our money plus like 5,000% of what we put in, 5,000% interest. Because we need to make all the money. Video games is the most like hyper capitalist industry out there. Maybe next to like I don't know, anything that uses like cobalt mining, which video games probably do too. Oh no. Ooh, cigarettes. That's a good one. Whatever. Yeah. Square Enix, Crystal Dynamics, they got fucked over. But they're doing better things now. They had that Outriders. I don't know. I didn't check it out. I don't know what it is. I just know people liked it. This is why I don't play like AAA games and stuff. But, yeah. Is there anything else? Oh, yeah. Sort of speaking of. Riot has announced an official partnership with Epic Games. They're bringing all their games to the Epic Games store. Oh boy, I can't wait. This is just kind of a short one. So yeah, they're bringing up like the Riot launcher, which the new Riot client. Oh boy, another one. If you weren't aware, or if you didn't play League for any substantial amount of time, the League of Legends client is infamously fucky, and it was always bad. Both versions have been bad. The original was it served its purpose, but it was just horribly outdated. It ran on Adobe Air well into like 2017, 2016, whatever. I don't remember exactly when they changed it. The new client was just stuffed with so poorly optimized. It was just stuffed with a bunch of pointless animations and weird layout, and just, God, the way they fucked with champion. Just searching for champions was so hard in the client. God, I hated that. Back when I was still playing. But, yeah, I guess they're rolling out yet another new client. Jeez, can you guys please get it right? So they're doing that, and they're also bringing all of their games to Epic. So you no longer have to, which is kind of weird that they're having both, because the Epic Games Store is also like a launcher too, from what I understand. So they've got both that and their own thing, but they're different. They're separate launchers, separate clients. I really hope. See, the only thing I'm really interested in playing that Riot's gonna release, like, I'm not going back to League. I'm not going back to League. Teamfight Tactics I don't care about. Legends of Runeterra, I actually tried it out for a bit. It was fun. Just kind of lost interest. Valorant, you think I'm going to play Valorant? I don't even like CSGO. I think that game's boring. I'm not going to play Valorant. The only thing that I'm not really that interested in any of the other spin-off games that they have coming out. The only thing that I'm interested in is, well, maybe is the MMO and the fighting game. And I really hope that those are not exclusive. I hope that it's not like, oh, and this one's going to be exclusive to Epic Games, because I don't want to install. I don't like clutter in my life, which doesn't make a lot of sense. It's pretty ironic if you look at my room, but I don't like clutter in like my computer, for instance. I like just having Steam, and I just open Steam, and all my games are in a list. And then I've got a couple games that I run from just like their EXEs on my computer. But generally that's it. I like having my stuff centralized to a very small number of platforms and, sources. And every single, it kind of reminds me of streaming. It's like every single company's getting a launcher. Does EA have a launcher? I feel like they do. Didn't someone make a launcher for all the different launchers? Jesus Christ. Like one that just it lets you access any of them at one time? That's pretty funny. I can't even remember if that was like a parody article or a real thing. Game launcher. The Corsair game launcher. Yeah, literally that. Oh wait, that was on March 31st. Was that an April Fool's thing? There's GOG, there's I'm just looking at a picture. Steam, GOG, Battle.net, Uplay, Origin, Epic Games, just too many, man. Too many. An all-in-one launcher, because there are too many launchers. Oh yeah, there's Play Night. Okay, it's called Play Night. That's what it was. Yeah, Itch? Is Itch a launcher? I never really played anything on Itch. Yeah, I just don't want to freaking install another gosh darn launcher. When's that fighting game coming out? So, give me the details on the fighting game. Please tell me, please. Please, Tony Cannon. Wait, which Cannon brother was it? Tony Cannon. Fuck. Where's the thunder? Radiant Entertainment. Who was the Cannon brother working on it? Radiant. Tom and Tony Cannon. I think it was Tom Cannon's the. Yeah, that's because they both have T-O. Tom and Tony. Those names are too similar. Tony Cannon is currently on the board for Evo. Tom Cannon is the one in Radiant. I want to see what Tom Cannon's doing. So, give me the deets. Give me the deets. Don't use it in the forest though, because that can start a fire. If you don't know, you're not supposed to use bug spray that has DEET in it while you're camping because it's flammable. So there's a risk of a fire hazard. But I want the deets. I want to see it. I want to mess up some league kids in a fighting game. I want to schmix them. I want to see the crossover of like super esports Riot players, Riot Games fans and the FGC. I want to see it. What else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, I want to talk about a couple games. So speaking of fighting games, I guess it's a good segue. So I was on my break. This past week I reinstalled Street Fighter V just because I kind of got the urge to play it. I was watching some Brian F videos, and he was just talking about the game and ideas and kind of concepts around playing fighting games, and really cool. He makes really good content if you're curious about learning about fighting games and stuff. He has a good channel, kind of a mix of like gameplay stuff and learning stuff. Yeah, he's a cool guy, and he's a Street Fighter player, so he's playing SF5 for the last couple years. And he was actually the one who got me really interested in the game because he made it look fun. He made the game look fun, whereas before previous Street Fighters I'd tried, I really didn't jive with it. Didn't really like the combo system. Didn't really click with any characters. But I saw his gameplay. I thought it actually looked fun. So I got it and went through the whole process of finding a character. I ended up settling on Nash, of all characters, which back in Season 4 of the game was maybe not the greatest idea because Nash was so apparently from what I understand, when the game came out, Nash was stupidly overpowered. And then they kind of over-nerfed him, and he was bad for a while. And then recently they buffed him again for Season 5. And from what I understand, is there SF5 Season 5 tier list? From what I understand, he's better now? He's generally considered better now? Oh, hey, the first one is Brian's tier list. Oh, he's still in C-, which is the lowest tier. Damn, he's down there with Alex. Yikesers. Well, hang on. This is Ryu is still in C tier in this tier list. So that was before Ryu got his buffs. Okay, I don't know. I feel like he was considered better though. He was considered better after he got some buffs. Dogra's got out. What the hell? This is a crazy tier list. Actually, maybe not that crazy. I just saw Falcon E Honda at the bottom. I was like, I feel like Honda's not that bad. Anyway, yeah, for some reason Nash was just fun to me. I just liked, he has a very like all-rounder kit and really good, like some good neutral buttons, and I don't know, I just find him fun for whatever reason. I like doing his bread and butter combos. I actually learned, so I when I got back into the game, I just kind of dropped it just because other stuff came up I was more interested in, and but I just this last week swung back into it, and I was having some fun struggling against the online. Oh, that's a different thing. SF5 I think has really come a long way. It's like a pretty fun game now, and I ended up learning. I never bothered to learn like a full combo into super with Nash, and then I did, and it was so shockingly easy. It was literally just it required a little bit of setup, where you have to like he has his V skill 2 basically buffs one of his specials, and it makes it do like an extra hit, and then so you just need to like get a knockdown or something so that you can safely get the buff, and then you do that. You do literally the exact same combo that I do like every single time, bread and butter, that ends in that special move, but it hits them an extra time so they bounce higher, and then you have enough time for them to fall on another special move, which you can then cancel into super. So it's literally just like the exact same combo, but with 2 extra moves tacked on, and one like bit of setup of having to needing the V skill at the beginning, or some point earlier in the round. Yeah, and it's pretty easy. Combos in general in SF5 are pretty easy. But so I was having fun. I was climbing up. I never really played enough to get out of bronze. Never really understood. So Street Fighter is interesting because coming from a game like Plus R, so the 2 fighting games that I have the most time into are Plus R and Skullgirls, which is funny because I don't consider myself especially good at fighting games, and those games are generally considered very difficult. But one thing about really difficult games, and this is something that Sajam talked about in a video, is that difficult games with a lot of things going on can actually end up being easier for a new player, because if you have like 5 skills, right? If there's 5 concepts to learn in this game, and you know one of them, you can go online, and someone who knows 3 or 4 or 5 of them is going to totally destroy you. But if you have a game with 20 things to learn, and you know like 4, let's say you know like 8 or something, right? You're decent at like 8 things. 8 concepts. You can go online, meet someone else who's good at 8 things, but it's a different 8 things. And so the skill set is way more broad, or the range of skills and things you just need to know or be good at is way wider, which also means, you might think that means that it's harder, but it actually, in a lot of cases, means that it'll be 2 different skill sets clashing, and that makes for an easier learning experience in some cases, because you can be like, oh, so that guy's doing like this, that guy just like is really good at this part of the game. How can I learn from that, right? Without necessarily getting destroyed by it, because you don't know how to anti-air. In Street Fighter, if you don't know how to anti-air, you're at a massive disadvantage. In Guilty Gear, in like Plus R, it's definitely a disadvantage, but it's not as massive because there's things like movement. There's the movement, there's evasion, there's all these things that can kind of offset a lack of anti-airing proficiency. And so in some cases, in some sense, I find Street Fighter V more difficult than a game like Plus R. Just me personally, because the way that the game is kind of designed in a game like Plus R, or generally in Guilty Gear, moves and individual tools are very, how would you say, they're very flexible. They're very flexible. You can use it for a lot of things. Like when I'm playing Slayer, I can look at basically almost every one of Slayer's moves and come up with like at least 3 different uses for them, 2 or 3 at least. Whereas in Street Fighter, it's like this move is used for this, and that is it. It doesn't combo into anything. It doesn't do anything beyond this. It doesn't, like, if you there's quite a few characters, Slayer's one of them in Guilty Gear, where if you get an anti-air, you can do a full combo off of that. You can just straight up, like, if Slayer, you hit like a 5P and just anti-air them, you can just jump after them and do a full air combo and do a knockdown, and then knockdown is going to give you Oki, and then you're going to get all this offense started from a single anti-air. In Street Fighter, it's like you anti-air them, and then they hit the ground, they're invulnerable after they get hit, and then they hit the ground. And then you can do, your Oki, whatever. And the Oki in Street Fighter is a lot more, I would say, streamlined. It's a lot more limited, where it's like, okay, basic like strike throw, some character, you can do like safe jumps. It's a lot more basic, and characters aren't really designed with it in mind, because it's more of a neutral focused game where more of the damage comes from exchanges in the neutral game rather than knocking someone down and just making their life hell and resetting them, like in Gear or something like Skullgirls. Skullgirls isn't super Oki based, it's more like reset based. I'm getting caught in the weeds right now. All I'm trying to say is I find things somewhat more difficult in Street Fighter because I can look at like a move, and I'm so used to being like, okay, in Guilty Gear you have all these routes that you can go to once you hit a single attack. You literally, like, they're called Gatling routes. And even Slayer, who doesn't use traditional Gatlings, he uses like weird late Gatlings. They're more like links. Even he, has like, okay, well, if I land like a 5K, I could route into like 5K, 2K, 2D, get a knockdown. I can go like, there's all these like paths that you can go to from any given move. And then when I'm playing Nash in SF5, it's like, okay, hit low forward. That is it. There's no combo. I got a poke. That is it. That is the damage for that interaction. I hit one move. Oh, I hit crouching fierce. That's it. That is I can't combo off of that unless it's like a crush counter. Okay. And that's fine. It's just something I have to get used to, is like, I feel like I should be able to combo off of that, but I can't. Like, I would hit low forward and I would land it, and then I would try to do a sweep, and it's like, nope, you can't do that. You actually get punished for that. They recover. It doesn't combo. There's a very limited number of things that actually combo compared to something like Gear. And that is, again, it's more difficult in certain ways because you have a much more strict set of options that you can use, that every tool has, right? And it's yeah, I don't know how many times I can restate the same thing. Well, there's another thing for the bingo card. Tygan asks how many times he can say the same thing, slightly rephrased, while he's working out an idea in his head. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say. So I'm having a bit of a struggle in SF5. The other thing is the goddamn netcode. Jesus. I definitely lost a couple games because of lag, and it sounds like a cop-out, But literally, I would land the first hit of like my bread and butter. I would hit like Nash's bread and butter combo is crouching medium punch, standing medium punch, heavy sonic scythe. That's it. It's a 3-hit combo, decent damage, get a knockdown. Sets up for stuff. That's what I'm doing all the time. And I would hit the first hit. It's a very easy link from crouching medium punch into standing medium punch. Very easy link. I don't know exactly how tight it is. Maybe like 4 or 5 frames. Pretty easy. And that's what it feels like, at least. And I would get that first hit, and then the game would like stutter, and I'm like, ugh! And then I would miss the next hit, and I'm like, what? I absolutely dropped a couple. Like some of them, I. So here's the frustrating thing for me as a player is I don't know, and I'm not someone who generally like makes a lot of excuses for when I screw up or for why I lose or anything. My frustration is because you've introduced this element, this like external element to the situation of there could just be stuttering during the game because of one-sided rollbacks and all that. Now it's like you're introducing this thing that is not based on me that can still affect me. So like that stuff actually gets me mad. Like if I lose in a game, I generally don't get upset because it's like, okay, I just gotta improve. I gotta watch a replay. I gotta practice more. I gotta work on my game. Gotta work on my execution. Like I can take self-criticism and see where I need to improve in games, and I don't like get big baby rage mad over it. However, if you introduce an element, how many times am I going to say introduce an element? When you have something like lag, where, okay, this is not me. I've got my Ethernet cord plugged in. I'm running on a wired connection. My computer can more than handle this game graphically. I've got it covered on my end. I don't know about you. But now I have to worry about this thing that I can't control because just randomly we're stuttering and lag spiking all over the place. And I'm going to keep myself from saying that. You have this new worry of, did I drop that combo because I messed up the timing, or because the game stuttered and lagged out for a second, and it just kind of, my input just got fucked up in translation, in communication to the other player. Was there like a rollback? Did he actually block that? And it didn't when I just thought, and it rolled back too late for me to realize, and I'd already committed to getting the hit confirm. I'm having all these other thoughts that are distracting me from areas that I might have to actually improve in because I just don't know. And there were definitely places and areas where like, okay, I should have been able to win that. Like you run into some guys in the low ranks of SF5, and these are flowchart players. I can literally see the flowchart. I played this Laura, and this dude would literally do the exact same thing every single time he got a knockdown. He would set a fireball, and then he would try to do a meaty standing short, and then if it blocked, which it always did because I saw that he did it at the same time, he would either go for V-Skill 1, which is an overhead, or he would go for sweep. He would just do like a 50-50. And so literally every single time that he knocked me down, I would just block and then watch for the overhead. Otherwise, just assume that he was going to do the sweep. And more often than not, he actually did the overhead, which is more reactable. And I still lost that, and I was so upset. It was so annoying. And I lost it because I just played badly in neutral. I wasn't using pokes. I wasn't spacing. I didn't know what I could punish. Part of that is game knowledge, but again, that's part of the learning process, and I just didn't learn fast enough. What moves are punishable? What can I do in this situation? Definitely a few times where I probably did moves that he was able to punish. Like, what was it? No, I'm thinking of a different thing. I played this, like, poison, for instance, and then every single time that I threw a fireball, he would always do, like, an EX or a heavy, like, heel stomp, and then just go right over it and punish me for it. And I was like, okay, I need to stop doing that. But then sometimes I would just do it out of habit, and I'm like, okay, probably means that I'm autopiloting, and I need to stop doing that. And those are all, that's all good stuff, and I think overall been making progress in my rank, but still bronze, but climbing slowly and steadily. Having the added problem of, like, network anxiety, because that sucks. Like, I feel like everyone knows what that feels like, to be playing a game and then there's like a hint of lag, like there's gonna be a lag this match, and you're like, oh no, and now the entire game you're like kind of on edge and you can't really get into it, you can't really focus entirely, because you're like, is the game gonna lag spike in the next second? Am I gonna miss this thing because the game randomly decided to spike because someone turned on a toaster in my house? You're not allowed to focus on the game. It's like when kids do badly in school because they have bad home lives, because they're just trying to think about when they're gonna get their next meal, and they can't focus on, like, the Pythagorean theorem. One thing is more important to you than the other one. One thing's causing you more anxiety, and it's kind of not allowing you to get invested in this fantasy, if you will, or this more abstract mental thing. You're thinking about the real world. You're pulled out of the game, right? That was such a weird analogy, but I feel like it works. Other than that, I'm having fun. I just need to know when to quit. I try to be good about, like, okay, I've been on a losing streak. I should quit. I should stop right now. There's a fallacy or an easy trap to work yourself into of, I need to keep going until I get a win. I can't end on a loss, because then you end up every mistake you make, because you're intentionally trying really hard for that win and you're keeping that as your goal. Every single mistake you make, every single round that you lose is like tilting you more and more, because you're getting further away from your goal, and you're just seeing more time that you're spending when you really should probably be maybe shutting off and going to bed or something like that. And you just tilt harder, and then you usually end up not winning that night at all. You end up ensuring that you're not going to win. So I try to be a little more mindful of, like, okay, am I going on a losing streak? I should just call it a day. And that happened. I lost like 3-4 games in a row, and I was like, oh, okay, before my rank drops any further, because I got all the way up to Ultra Bronze, and then I deranked back to Super Bronze. I was like, let me turn in. Let's call it a day. And I'm almost ready to call it a day on this podcast, but not quite, because this morning I finished the Ashes Afterglow. The Doom Total Conversion mod that I talked about last episode, which was, if anyone forgets what that was, it was basically Doom. It's a total conversion mod for Doom, and it's basically Fallout as a really, really tight FPS. So I got to the second hub of the game. I did some quests for it. I discovered there's an infinite money exploit. So what you can do is there's a section of the second hub where there's like this mechanic guy, and he asks you to go down into the pipe works underneath the little town that they have set up. It's like in The second hub, the first hub was like a subway station. The second hub is a water treatment facility, if I remember correctly, or like a water storage facility that's been repurposed into this town. And he asks you to go into the pipeworks and clear out some mutants in there. So you go do that, and then you come back, and he gives you 50 scrap, which is the money in the game. And then it turns out, when I talk to him again, you can just keep turning in the quest. You can just keep going back to the option to like the, you know, in the dialogue tree, you get to the first set of options or whatever, like the front end of the conversation. You can just keep routing back to that. You'll be like, ask about jobs, and he says, yeah, can you go down to the pipeworks and take care of the mutants? And then you say, I already took care of that. And then he says, oh, really? Here's your 50 scrap. And then you can go back to the you can reset it ends that thread, and then you go back to the start of the conversation, and then you can do the exact same thing over and over and over again. And I found that you can literally just mash enter to select the options in a rhythm where you won't exit out of the conversation. And it's like you hit enter 4 times, hit up so that you don't, because the cursor ends on like leave, hit up to reset the conversation, go back to the dialogue option that resets the discussion, enter, up, enter, and just over and over and over again till I had infinite money. And scrap is also used to upgrade your guns. So what I did was upgraded all of my guns to the max upgrades. Then I healed myself for full at like the doctor that's in the town, and then I bought a bunch of ammunition until I was basically full on everything, and then I was not quite unstoppable. There's some difficult sections of this game, but it was definitely much easier. I'll tell you that. And it works. I was worried that like maybe once I leave the map and then come back, it would not work or it would close off. Nope, it literally was exploitable. The exploit remained the entire rest of the game. So I never ran out of money for stuff, and I was always fully stocked on ammo and all that. So that was kind of silly. Game was still fairly difficult, I have to say, even having access to all that stuff. And I think it achieved that through some really clever enemy design that I also made me want to tear my hair out. I hate those freaking shotgun guys with the shields. They're basically invulnerable until they ready their shotguns, and then there's like a very brief window before they fire where you can hit them. You can hit them with like a point-blank shotgun of your own, and it will kill them in one hit. But they do a crazy amount of damage because they're shotgunners, and they lock on really hard. So you basically need to take cover, or they will destroy you. There's some super cool maps in this game. This is just gonna be a bunch of random thoughts. Now that I've finished it, there's some rad maps in this game, and it really is a game. It's like a full 10-hour or so game, maybe more, honestly, with how much content there is. And again, it's free. It's free if you have Doom. It's just a mod for Doom. And there's a first one too, and a prequel, which I haven't played, but I'm sure it's also really good. And it's so high quality, dude. There's a map. There's a level where you go to, you're in like a big stadium. It's like a sports stadium, and you open up and there's like a big battle against all these mutants. It's like this mutant one, like it's called Blood Sport is the map, and you start off in this almost, it kind of reminds me of what's that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger with Marathon Man? No, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. What am I thinking of? Total Recall. No, Running Man. Running Man. It kind of reminds me of Running Man a little bit, where it's like a big, you got like a big arena, and you're just a killing. You're just a killing, and all you have is like a melee weapon, and then you kind of branch out, and there's this, you escape, and then there's this huge, absolutely gigantic map inside of this stadium, and it really is like a very fleshed out location with back rooms and like a shops area and management, or like, you know, like offices and stuff, and little side rooms and things like that. You can crawl around in the ducts. Just so super cool. There's an amazing map inside of these botanical gardens. It's called the Biodome, and it's just like a giant glass dome that has a bunch of plant life in it, and there's like these broken bridges that you can like jump across and to like navigate around and go through all these different parts of it. There's like shrouded or like really hidden or what would you call it, very like dense areas of brush that you have to go through to find like plant samples for this doctor in the second hub town. There's unique enemies that only really appear there. And thinking like maybe they appear other. I feel like they only, there's like this really creepy. The idea is it's just like these mutated plants, and a lot of them have kind of taken on these almost like animal features, or these animal. Not tendencies, but they've evolved, right? So they're like half plant, half animals, and like there's these sort of plants around which are just cosmetic, but they're just like environmental details. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. And they look like buttercups or something, but they have like weird tongues hanging out. It's super creepy and uncanny, and makes me very uncomfortable. And oh, someone's moving around out there. There's like these weird, like, I would call them like scorpion type plants, where they have that kind of stance, they have that pose of having like multiple legs and all that. You know what I'm talking about. They're like scorpion plants, but they have this weird flower head that like first of all, they shoot this barrage of really fast projectiles that do a lot of damage. Second, if you get close to them with like a shotgun or something, they have this like flower head that opens up, and there's all these like disgusting, gross ass like tentacle tongue things inside, and it starts like wiggling, and it just like makes this horrible noise. It's fucking terrifying. It makes my skin crawl, and then it like rushes at you, and it just super gives me the heebie-jeebies. So creative. There's these like gigantic, it's like big masses of corpses that are just like floating around, and they've got like, it's like organic and plant matter and corpses, like human corpses that are all like in this big mishmash mush of stuff, and they float around, and they shoot these homing projectiles at you, like this barrage of homing projectiles. Super weird. The whole biodome environment was so cool. There's a whole section where you have to go through like a museum just to get there, and then you actually get inside of the biodome, and it was literally making a GZ Doom chug with how massive the environment was and how many like line defs it was trying to render. It's rare that you can actually make the Doom engine chug, but this mod did it. That's with like gigantic maps. Super sick. Was there anything else that I was thinking of that was like really cool about the game. There's like multiple endings. There's like side quests that you can do. There's optional quests that you can do that will change the events of the game. I kind of ended up getting a bad ending where I just killed everyone. I was fine, but I killed everyone. It's definitely a game where you want to do a lot of the content because the side content is legitimately fun and interesting and enjoyable, just because the gameplay is enjoyable and the level design really brings out the best of the combat. The enemy design is very good, like classic Doom. I'm going to pull out a big dictionary word. Orthogonal. I feel like it employs the Doom like orthogonal unit differentiation. If you say orthogonal unit differentiation 3 times in your mirror, a bully will appear. A high school bully will appear and give you a swirly. That's a little known fact. It's a bit of an urban legend. But basically just what that means is that enemies or units serve different functions within the game. It's a very common thing. It just has a super nerdy title, super nerdy name. You see it all the time. I usually refer to it as chess piece enemy design, where enemies serve different purposes rather than just being like the same thing but with more health or more damage, for instance. And there's room for that in an orthogonal design. It's just when that's the only thing your game offers, it gets pretty stale. This mod generally kind of takes a lot of some of the designs from Doom, the original enemies. It puts a little spin on it. There's like these. The first thing I think of is like the cacodemons from Doom, but there's like a flying enemy in this that it's called like a gas bag. It's just a weird fleshy floating balloon thing, and it tries, instead of shooting projectiles at you, it tries to zoom towards you and it will explode on contact. So you want to like take it off from a distance and all that. Anything else? I don't know. It's just really good. There's like a genuinely kind of interesting plot line about how the world ended up the way that it did. It's definitely setting up by the end for a third game to kind of like, I'm assuming, wrap things up and finish off some of the storylines with like the mutants especially, and some other stuff that is brought up in the first game, and blah blah blah. Really good. Check it out if you have Doom. Totally worth your time. Super rad. Mad tight. Yo. The music's good. Yeah, I feel like I mentioned that before, but the music's great. The gameplay is just wonderful. It's just excellent. The guns feel great in terms of like sound design. It's heavy impact on all of them. They feel good to use, like the sound effects, the feedback that you get in the Doom engine with the big blood spurts, all of that, just great. Yeah, level design, enemy design is good. All that, just everything's good about it. It's just really sick, and I can't give enough praise to. I need to know the name of the guy. Reformed Joe. Sorry, Vostyuk. Yeah, all the love to Vostyuk and all these mod. No, not Vostok. Vostyuk. Ashes. So all these mod creators who are making mods for these classic games, total conversions, whatever, what have you. You know, guys like Blowtoid as well, who did Death Wish, that are like, so much work is put into them, so much effort, such a masterful craft of level design. For free. for free with like no, like I guess you could donate to them. Maybe, I'm actually not even sure. But really just doing it because they love it. And I gotta commend them. It's literally like the exact opposite of the Avengers game. Blowtoid's been working on Death Wish for 10 years. He didn't have a 10-year plan. He just made a good game. He made a good mod that he just kept revising until it was amazing. Yeah, I think that's a nice positive note to end on. Didn't really have anything else I wanted to talk about. If you've enjoyed this episode, then leave your comments down below. I want to know well, first of all, thank you for listening this far. Second of all, leave your comments down below if you have any questions. I will definitely get to them next episode. It has to be a question. I'm not just going to read your thoughts out loud. And it should include a question, at least. And let me know ideas for a bingo card for this show. I think that would be funny. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna have. Oh dear lordy. Gonna have a video tomorrow. Or not tomorrow. Gonna have a video at the end of the week. We are really close to 1,000 subscribers, way more than I was anticipating. We're at like 730 something right now, and climbing. If I open up the YouTube app right now, YT Studio right now, is it going to be above? Has it gone any higher? Can we get a live update? Oh my god, it did. It went up by 1. 7:34 as I record this. So thank you everyone who's been listening to the podcast, watching the videos and enjoying it. It really makes me happy. You know, people would do stuff. You know, like make a whole like little beat for my stupid Blizzard segment. Oh, I don't know if I ever really mentioned all I wanted to say about the Blizzard thing. I don't think I ever completed my thought on that. But what I wanted, the reason that I keep harping on Blizzard specifically is like I want to focus on the things that are related to the lawsuit and to the harassment that happened, because I feel like it just happens so often where something terrible happens, and because information in the internet age is so rapid and just from the hip, it's just people are upset about it for a few days, then they move on to the next thing, or they go quiet, as often happens in lawsuits, and then people kind of forget, and then the story about the lawsuit comes back out when there's like a ruling or whatever, but people don't care as much. And I feel like this is not a story that I want to be forgotten or glossed over, because I think it deserves, you know, the people who suffered it at Blizzard aren't just going to move on. And I think that, you know, obviously we can't say that we've experienced what they have, or you know, most of us can't. I hope no one. I hope as few people. I hope no one does. No one can, right? But I think it would be nice to at least share a level of passion for them getting the justice that they're as passionate about. What the fuck am I trying to say? Share their level of passion for getting justice for them, for everyone who was affected by it. And the way that I can do it in my tiny little, you know, under 1,000 subscriber, 50 something views maybe on a podcast way, is just by bringing it up and reminding people of what happened and not letting it go. And I don't want this to be something that gets let go and kind of falls to the wayside. That's it. That's why I do the Blizzard block. It's not to be mean, and I try to control that. I try to control how much negativity I'm projecting. But anyway, I already did my whole spiel about everything you can do with the comments or the likes and the subscribers and the hit the noties on. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.